here to discuss Unit 1, Topic 2, Exploration. In 3 separate videos, we will be covering the following parts 1 through 3. Today's discussion will focus on Part 1. In Part 1, the main points will be the start of exploration, Christopher Columbus, other explorers, and the impact on Native Americans. So what led to exploration? Before the discovery of the Americas, as far as Europeans were concerned, there was a big drive for questioning and changing how life was previously thought of prior to exploration. This period of time in Europe was called the Renaissance period. In the Renaissance period, there was a period of rebirth. That's what they mean by Renaissance. And there was an intellectual transformation where people started to have a bigger drive to want to explore the unknown. So education became a big influence on the discovery of a new world, and also the influence of art and cartography or map making. So this desire to want to learn more led to explorers wanting to find different routes and ways to develop their trade network. From this development of the trade network, they would be able to expand their empires and become even more powerful. Another big motivator for exploration was the spread of Christianity. Sometimes people refer to the big motivators of exploration to be God, gold, and glory, or the 3 Gs. God representing the spread of Christianity, gold, the push to try to find new resources to trade and develop their empire, and then glory, the fame that came along with discovering these new lands. 2 men from Portugal kind of kicked off this period of exploration at this point in time. Those men are Vasco da Gama and Henry the Navigator. Both wanted to use Africa as a resource to try to develop a trade network with the East Indies or Asia. Henry the Navigator was a Portuguese prince, and he wanted to conquer the coast of North Africa in order to get a port that is located there. That way he could use that port as a source to stop his ships in order to refuel and get ideas of what's going on in Africa and to develop a trade network within Africa. He was fascinated with Africa as a resource for trade. Vasco da Gama discovered that there should be a way to get to the East Indies by going around the Cape of Africa, or the very bottom that's located right here. So he would take his ships and go around Africa, down at the bottom called the Cape of Good Hope, and then up to India. India was known for its spices as a great thing to acquire for trade. So I'm sure you all have heard of Christopher Columbus and his famous voyage in 1492 when he sailed the ocean blue and magically discovered the Americas. However, was he really the first to discover the Americas? Simply, the answer to that is no. In the 11th century, a man by the name of Leif Erikson discovered the land that we now call the Americas. Christopher Columbus discovered it simply by accident, but he was the first to develop a long-lasting relationship, and that's where he got his fame. So Christopher Columbus is originally from Italy, but he could not find financing or people to give him money to support his voyage when he was trying to set up this travel to what he thought would be Asia. So he went to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain, and they sponsored his voyage. Christopher Columbus thought he could sail across the Atlantic Ocean in order to reach Asia, whereas everyone else had been paving the way that Vasco da Gama was setting by going across Africa, but that took a long time. So Christopher Columbus thought, if you just cross that ocean that's in the opposite direction, you should hit Asia. There's nothing else there, because as far as he knew, no one else found it. So in 1492, Columbus set sail with his 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. On October 12th, they bumped into a surprise land which they claimed for Spain. This area of land is located in the Caribbean, kind of where Haiti and the Dominican Republic is, and he called that Hispaniola, starting this kickoff for Spanish colonization. So not only did he discover that land, so he thought, he also took initiative to set up a trade network for Spain and possibly a new land for them to send people to create new villages. Columbus called this the New World, the Old World being European nations that he was from. When he arrived in Hispaniola, he found native peoples there that he called Indians, thinking that he was in the Indies or Asia. He also claimed that these people were wearing an abundance of gold jewelry, and this implied to the king and queen that there is an abundance of gold here and these people know where they are, which created some controversy with the Native Americans. First of all, they had someone come onto what they believed to be their land, who looked completely different to them. And then they had people have this fascination with their jewelry. So when Columbus or the other people he brought back on his second voyage would question them about where they found that gold, and they would say no, sometimes they would be subject to torture or other devices to try to get them to tell them where the gold was. In actuality, there really wasn't much gold there to begin with, so this became a very difficult, harsh circumstance for the Native Americans. On his second voyage, he discovered what is now Puerto Rico, claiming that area in the Caribbean. A number of explorers followed Columbus's lead after that land was discovered. A cartographer or map maker by the name of Amerigo Vespucci named America what it is today. He was the one that confirmed this is not Asia, this is not that same landmass that we knew was there. This is something completely different, and there's a whole lot left to explore. So that created a lot of hope in Europe of this new land to be settled, and it started to kick off more French exploration and English exploration, and paved the way to colonization in our own country. Ferdinand Magellan is another important explorer to note. After the discovery that the landmass that Columbus bumped into was not actually Asia, Magellan still wanted to find a way to get to Asia by crossing the Atlantic. So he discovered a way to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific, the same route that Columbus took, but by going around the bottom of what is now South America. Today we call that the Strait of Magellan. So how did this exploration affect the Native Americans? As we know, there are already people who lived in this area before the Europeans discovered it. So did they really discover the land, or did it already belong to somebody else? Although at first the Native Americans were accommodating and very nice to the people that were there, some studies show anyway, they were found to be treated as a source of labor. So they were forced to work on plantations or to be given a part of land to work and live off of, or encomiendas. Explorers also felt it was their duty to convert Native Americans to Christianity. Native Americans' way of life and their religion and their thought processes were very different from the Europeans, and many Europeans thought that this way was uncivilized, and they thought they could maybe help the Native Americans by making them more civilized. So they would try to convert them to Christianity. And some tribes did so willingly, and others there was a struggle and some treatment that went along with that as well. Due to something called the Columbian Exchange, which we'll discuss next, Native Americans encountered a number of diseases that they were unwilling to fight off because they had never been exposed to them before. So death toll started to rise amongst Native Americans rapidly, killing off majority of the people in some of those lands. So not only was this horrifying for the Native American people, but it also posed a problem for the new colonies that were there that used them as a labor resource. So they started to look to another type of people that they felt they could force into labor. And this is what started the triangular trade in Africa. In 1517, 4,000 African slaves were brought to the Caribbean from Africa forcibly.